Alright guys, today we are going to learn about the Japanese Daruma. Now, if you've gone to some Japanese hibachi restaurants or places like that, most likely there's a Daruma around somewhere. You probably just didn't know what it was. There are these amazing little round kind of wishing dolls, but they don't look like any doll we have seen here, or the kind that you would necessarily keep to play with in your house. Alright, so let's go ahead and learn a little bit more about the history of the Daruma as well as how they are made today. So what is a Daruma? A Daruma literally means perseverance. It is a wishing doll. It is believed to have originated over 1,500 years ago. It's over 1,500 years old, and it shows the Bodhidharma sitting in Zazen. Basically, that was one of their very big spiritual leaders back in the day, and it shows him sitting cross-legged and being very peaceful. And that's what the Daruma got its origin from. It also shows the Ganbaru spirit, which pretty much means you never give up. The Daruma is kind of like the Thomas the Tank Engine of the Japanese culture in the fact that you are always striving to reach and do better. You might be asking, why are most of the Darumas red? That's because the Bodhidharma wore red as a symbol of good health and energy, and that is why red is a prevalent, means very prominent, it's all around color in Japan, China, India, all over in sort of the Asian countries. As far as the facial features, these are really important. The eyebrows are going to be shaped like cranes, while the mustache is more so shaped like a tortoise shell. And the reason for that is both of those animals were meant to represent long life. So, what does a Daruma look like? Right here, this is a Daruma. So here's how it works. If you have a goal, a wish, or a promise, you're going to paint in one eye. And that's what that middle Daruma in the line of 3 shows. Somebody has made a goal, a wish, or a promise, and on the back, you paint in a heart, and you write your goal in it. And you work towards your goal, wish, or promise every single day. And when you finally achieve it, that's when you are able to paint in the second eye on your Daruma. So you can see the progression of it. It's meant to always be keeping an eye on you and watching you. The other thing I want you to notice is check out, we've got the tortoise shell on the sides, and then the crane shape to the eyebrows. So you're seeing that large circle, the little beak, and then the long, slender neck. There is a motto that goes with the classic red Daruma, which is fall down 7 times, get up 8. It reminds you to never give up on your dreams and to always keep striving for them. Also, with the way that the Daruma is shaped, they really can't tip over ever. So it physically reminds you to always keep working even if you get knocked down. So let's go ahead, guys, and watch a little video on how the Daruma is made. And I'm going to talk us through some of the process here as well. Traditional Darumas had been made out of clay. Now, however, they are made in more like a paper mache type process. You're also going to notice that Darumas come in many different sizes and colors. Alright, and we'll get into what those colors mean here in a minute. But let's go ahead and actually watch the process. So inside that big box is the mold of a Daruma, and then they sink it into this paper mache type water. And when they open it back up after giving it a couple minutes to dry, you will see the Daruma head here. Obviously, they've got to be very careful when removing it, otherwise they could damage it. So they're going to carefully lift it and pull it out. Once it is dried all the way, and notice that one's a pretty large one, right? That one might be for a whole family. They're going to get dipped in that candy apple red color, which is the most common one. Their faces are all hand painted, so that base layer gets done first. Then it goes over to another worker who will ring the eyes in that kind of peachy red flesh tone color. From there, they repaint in the center part of the eye to really make it that bright white and stand out. Finally, it goes over to another worker who is going to paint on her section for the Daruma's facial features. This one happens to be the nose, and then they're going through into the tortoise shell on the mustache there for the cheeks. And the last thing they add on are just some various words, and then there's showing you the heart on the back where you would write your goal, wish, dream, or promise. As we can see here, Darumas come in several different colors. So let's go ahead and really look at what those different colors mean. Red, as we've said, means luck and good fortune. A purple Daruma is more so for health and longevity. The yellow Daruma is for security and protection. And the gold Daruma is for wealth and prosperity. And the white Daruma is for love and harmony. So depending on what your goal, wish, or dream was, you would pick the main color that best correlates to your wish. So, now that we've learned a little bit more about Darumas, let's go ahead and make our own. Remember, depending on what you are wishing for, you will want to keep your Daruma in line with the colors.
Okay, so I went ahead and I grabbed out the white paper that I sent home with you guys, as well as a pencil. Now, to make this as easy on yourselves as possible, you're going to want to start with a very large circle, almost like an egg shape. And at the very bottom, where it would touch together, that's where you're going to attach kind of the flat-ish base. So it's like a little rectangle at the very end of a very large circle. Kind of looks like a bit of a hot air balloon. The face is going to be a trapezoid, all right? So, or you can think about it like a triangle who has the point cut off. So I'm going to go ahead and at the top here, just kind of draw a little bit of a curved line. I'm going to come down to my bottom. That's going to be slightly larger, and then in the middle, on either side, I'm going to gently curve and bring my lines together. So if I had drawn all the way up, it would be looking like, obviously, a triangle with the points. Now, we don't need to go crazy with the inside bits here, but if you want to add in more of the fancy designs, and sorry guys, I'll go ahead and I'll grab just my colors here real fast to show you. If you wanted to, you could come into the base and add in those gold filigrees, all right? And it's just a few gold little stripes on either side, okay? And then it does get into more of the characters. I don't expect you to try and draw out a Japanese kanji character at all. It's very difficult, and you have to, for it to be a true one, draw in a very specific order. So I'm not going to stress out about that. You will need to decide what color you want your Daruma to be. So on either side, you're going to make your two big circly eyes. Okay. Your nose is almost like two big hills all on their own. 1, 2. Just like so. Ooh, I got a little carried away on that one. He got a little high up there. Alrighty. Now from here, this is where you start to have to get a little bit more specific with what you are drawing. The nostrils always tend to be outlined in red, just like around the eyes always tends to be outlined in that reddish pink. So I'm just going to take my crayon here. You guys can use your crayons. And then I'm just going to smudge that all the way around with my fingers. Point, and then I'll do the same thing over here on this one. that nice little fade out and around on the eyeballs. So, for your Daruma's mouth, that tends to just be a very straight line. Nope. Okay, and I know that looks a little weird. He looks a little bit like a little piggy there. Now, eyebrows. Like I said, these are shaped like a crane. So what you're going to do is you're going to come way in, and you're going to draw a big old oval, and you can tip it a little bit. And you'll match that on this side. This is the head of your crane. Off of that is going to come the crane's long beak. Alrighty. Then you're going to go into a very narrow neck on both sides. And from there, it swoops out into more of his big old feathery body. And again, you can get as, detailed and crazy with this as you want. I'm just simply going to go ahead. I'm actually going to switch to a slightly bigger marker here. And then you just add in some feathers coming off like so. And then I'll match the same thing over on this side. There we are. Little line for the body there. Now, when it comes time down here, off the side of the nose, you're going to be making almost like a big old teardrop shape, like so. Hopefully you should remember how to make this from when we visited India, because it is very similar. At the edge, it's almost like he's got little whiskers coming out of his mouth. Just go with it, guys. Inside, you're going to have another little tinier teardrop. This one tends to be almost all the way colored in, except for a tiny little spot. And then again, much like we saw in the video, you're going to come in, and this is that tortoise shell pattern, and you're just filling it in with lines. And then I'll match, do the same sort of shape over on this side. And again, pull it in and draw my little tortoisey lines, and then match it with some little whiskers on the other side. Now, I'm going to go ahead and trace all of my pencil lines in black. That way you guys can really see them. So I'm starting with that trapezoid shape that I used for the head. Remember, that's just a triangle who got his top cut off. And this is where you've got to decide when you start coloring what you want your wish goal to be. Alright, or whatever promise you need to make. Because on the back of your Daruma is where you draw a big old heart. And I'll flip them over here in a second. On this side, you'll draw your heart, and maybe your goal is to, like so Miss Cutting, one of her resolutions for this year is to make more time for my art. And I've been doing pretty good with it, but then sports hit, and now I haven't been doing so good. So I would want to go back through, take a look at my different Daruma colors to see which one best matches. And then I'm going to go ahead and just get him colored in all the way depending on that. So there you have it, guys. This is how you build your Daruma. The last thing I just need to do is now that I've made my wish on the back, I can color in one eyeball. And it's just a big old black circle. Alright? So, not too bad. Alright? I cannot wait to see yours. So, I went ahead, filled my Daruma in, and I want to mention one more thing. Typically, you would put your Daruma someplace where it can watch over you, so that way it serves as a reminder to your goal. So for Miss Cutting, since my goal is to make more time for my own art, I would probably stick this inside my house, most likely my living room, where I have my easel all set up. So depending on what your goal is, think about where you can kind of stick your Daruma so that he reminds you to keep working at your goal, your wish, or your promise every day. All right, guys, I hope you have fun with this.